bells clanged wildly as Winston let go of the rope, bumping across the floor of the belfry and skidding to a stop in the corner of the room. He opened his eyes and found himself looking into an upside-down face. The face grinned cheerfully and cried, "Ooh, more visitors!" And just then, Prue and Eduardo burst into the room, having raced up the stairs to find Winston. "Ooh, more visitors," said the upside-down face again. Winston shook his head to stop it from spinning and looked around properly to get his bearings. He was in a moonlit room at the top of the spire, and through the open windows he could see the whole city spread out twinkling below. Turning back, he found that the upside-down face belonged to an elderly bat who was hanging from a wooden beam. She fluttered down to help Winston to his feet as Prue and Eduardo padded over. When everyone was the right way up, Winston introduced himself and his friends. "I'm Pamela Flittermouse," said the bat as the bells stopped ringing. "Have you come for a nice natter? You must meet my chums." She swept a wing out in the direction of two creatures who were silhouetted against the moon and then said, "Have you come for a natter?" "Oh no, I just asked that." Winston squinted at Pamela's friends and then grinned. He recognised the large pigeon and the tiny round robin. "Edna, George," she squeaked as Edna waddled forwards and scooped Winston into her wings for a hug. Behind her, George was, as always, fast asleep. Winston had befriended the pair the previous Christmas when they'd helped him on his very important mission. "What are you doing up here?" asked Winston. "We've come for a nighttime natter with our old friend Pam," said Edna. "Considering she lives all the way up here, she always has the latest gossip. She sees everything that goes on." Pamela nodded. "I always have the latest gossip." "Oh, you just said that, didn't you, Edna?" She laughed, and Edna, Winston, Prue and Eduardo found themselves joining in too. Then, of course, Edna wanted to know what on earth Winston was doing in the belfry, having made such a dramatic arrival. Winston told his friends about his very curious mystery to find the figure from his memories. "I thought perhaps they might have been up here, but it was your voices I heard," he said. Then he had an idea. "You don't know the name of the tune that the bells were playing, do you?" Pamela shook her head. "No, I said at the time that I didn't know it, didn't I, Edna?" Edna nodded. "Yes, I thought that's what I said Pamela." Considered Prue. "A mysterious song." Eduardo stroked his chin ponderously. "As the French say, un mysterious chocolat chaud," which of course isn't what they say at all. Then Pamela said, "And you can't remember anything else other than the tune and the blurry figure humming it?" Winston shook his head. "Maybe you should try listening again," suggested Edna. And so Winston took a deep breath, shut his eyes and listened as Edna and Pamela hummed the tune. In his mind, everything immediately went whooshing backwards like before. He was back in his rememberings again with the same flickering light and the hazy figure humming to him, except this time they weren't humming. Winston realised that the tune, the lovely lilting melody that made him feel so warm and safe, was actually a song. It was a lullaby. But the words were in a language he didn't understand. Then his nose wiggled. He could smell something. Delicious senses that smelt different to the cakes and biscuits the bakery on Mistletoe Street made. Winston opened his eyes. A new language and delicious baking smells. These were new clues. He quickly told his friends what he'd remembered. Everyone was terrifically excited, particularly Eduardo. "Mange tout!" he exclaimed. "I think I know what this means. They have the most delicious cake shops in the world in Paris. I wonder if you were born there." Winston gasped. Could that be true? Could he have been born in France? It was then Prue's turn to get excited. "I have a cousin," she cried. "Well, a second cousin, twice removed actually, who lives in Paris, right above a patisserie." "That means cake shop," interrupted Eduardo, who for once was correct. "I know, because when my people get letters from his people," Prue continued, The envelope smelled divinely of bread and cakes, and I'm sure my cousin Gaspard would help you with your search. Winston could hardly believe it. His heart soared and then just as quickly plummeted. There was a problem. How will I get to Paris? He asked, his whispers drooping. He knew it was a long way, and if he were to go by paw, it would take forever. Winston also knew that no matter what, he had to be back with Oliver for Christmas morning. The thought of being so far away from him made a shiver of nerves shimmy up Winston's tail. It was an adventurous little mouse, but going to a whole other country was an entirely different matter. Winston's eyes prickled, but he took a deep breath. He had to solve his very curious mystery, and that meant being brave. He put his paws on his hips to make him look braver than he felt, and concentrated on trying to think of a way to get to Paris pronto. Then there came a noise from the corner of the room.